Okay, for the first time in more than 50 years, there's less red tape for Americans to travel to Cuba. Fidel Castro took power in 1959. Many Cubans fled his communist regime. Now one local author, that is sharing his memories of leaving Cuba and assimilating in the U.S. My Cuban Story, funny memories from serious times. Vic Cabrera is here live with us at the KCAL studio. It's a lighthearted memoir. Welcome, Vic.
Thank you.
So it took you how long to write this?
Well, a lifetime, just about. I started writing it actually when I was in college, and we first did it as readings at a Cuban restaurant here in Hollywood, El Floridita. And so we've added music and a soundtrack and sound effects. And so I gathered all those stories and put them into the book.
Okay, you know, I was, thumbing through the book this morning, looking at it, and your excerpts are incredible. Tell us about how your family fled Cuba.
Well, my father realized very quickly on that Castro was trouble. He had a good friend that was a priest, a Spanish priest, and he had been through the revolution in Spain, and so he warned my father that things were not good. Even though the Cuban people really welcomed Castro at first. So he started making arrangements to get out, but that took almost 2 years. In the meantime, they would put him through all this kind of, paperwork, and you needed releases, and you needed bribes and all that kind of thing.
And that picture right there, that's your family?
That's
photo?
my family, yes.
And are you up there wearing
that's
the black?
That's me, yes.
So how old were you when you finally fled?
7. I was 7 years old, and we came through Spain as tourists, and then got an asylum there, and came to Manhattan, where my father had a friend, not a friend, somebody he had met actually, and they became our sponsor.
And it said your first apartment was this little kind of rooms, a storage facility.
A storage facility. Our sponsor's
hubcaps.
son, sponsor's son, was a leader of a local gang, and they would steal hubcaps and radios and anything that they can get their hands on.
Oh my goodness.
So they stored it in our apartment for a while. And then by chance, my father ran into an acquaintance of his, and they lived in Hoboken, New Jersey. So this friend got my father a job in Hoboken, and so we were eventually able to move to Hoboken. So now my daughters say they want to go back to Cuba to see my roots, and I say, well, you'll have to go back to Hoboken. I'll take you there.
How do you feel about that now that it seems like it's going to be a little bit easier to travel back to Cuba? Have you actually gone back yourself?
No, I have not. My father always felt that was contributing to Castro, because you have to pay quite a bit of money up front. And so I have really mixed feelings. Plus, there is no it's just talk right now.
Yeah.
Nothing really has changed. And I know that a big part of the whole negotiation is not changing, human rights and things like that. So I really have mixed feelings about going back. I feel like it's, going to see a car crash.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to necessarily see it.
Talk about your inspiration, Conga Fever.
Conga Fever is a monologue that I have in my book, and it's based on when I met my wife, and it's a fictionalized story where I went into this bar, and it was a country music bar. So in my book version, I made it a Latin bar, and so I just spotted her across the room and thought, wow, I can't believe she's not dancing with some guys. She was with her sister. So it was always that drama of approaching her. And
there she is.
And just before I did that, she turned this guy down for dancing. So I thought, oh, she's either not a dancer or married. But, it was one of those moments where I say, well, it's either now or never. So. And
I have to say, your wife, she helped with the cover of your book, and she actually works for our graphics department here at CBS.
Right. Her and my daughter Carly worked on the cover, and she does all my graphics for my plays and everything else.
Oh, well, I can't wait to read it tonight. Thank you so much, Vic, for stopping by.
Thank you.
If you would like to learn more about Vic's book. Again, you can go to our website, kcow9.com, click Seen on TV, and it's